Here we are, Location Luxe. I'm your host, Alan Canis, and here in season 1, we'll be focused on what we're calling the Great Lifestyle Migration. On each episode, I'll be right here in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. Over the last few decades, we've witnessed a great migration for employment and technology development. As such, the need and demand for homes has been among the highest in the country. These migration choices are giving people an extraordinary opportunity to explore new locations, amenities, and lifestyle options. And that's why we're here. Location Luxe. I'm so pleased to welcome another one of my favorite real estate colleagues, direct on location, Bob Pennypacker, direct from Healdsburg. Bob, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Alan. It's really a pleasure to be part of this.
You are one of the most terrific real estate agents in Healdsburg. And Bob, today you're going to be discussing Healdsburg, and not only is it a destination location, it is a beautiful lifestyle. But Bob, before we go into that, I would love for you to please tell us a little bit about you, who you are, your business, and where are you right now?
Oh, I'm in one of our local Sotheby's offices. I spent 20 years as an architect working on mostly large-scale commercial and transportation facilities. So when I made my migration to Healdsburg 18 years ago, I established a small residential design practice and absolutely loved it. Loved it so much, I became my own client and built a spec house. And through that process, I saw real estate from a totally different perspective and decided this is what I needed to be doing.
Bob, we're all hearing about the buzz regarding Healdsburg. It is a huge draw, not only regarding wineries, but it is a first home market and a secondary home market. What is the big buzz about?
Someone said you can tell a lot about a community just by how people eat. And we really eat well here in Healdsburg. Farm to table is just the norm. And it's a food culture that permeates the whole community. And I think that's part of it. Besides the wine, that's a major attraction here. And even when you go to people's homes, it's the same devotion to the land, the food, and how it's presented. I mean, when I first moved here and was invited to potlucks, I was blown away by just the quality of the food and the wine. And at first I thought they were competitive events, but it's not that at all. People just want to present their best. And it's it's really a pleasure living here and experiencing that. Once people get here, they understand how much we really have to offer. It's a very cycle-friendly environment. Just a few minutes from town, we have redwood forests and hiking trails. And during the summer, the Russian River is a huge draw with rafting and paddleboarding. There's so much to do here, and at the same time, like I think down in the Silicon Valley, they refer to Sonoma County as Slow-Noma because it gives everybody a chance to step back and relax.
Bob, could you tell me a little bit about what the weather is like?
Weather is beautiful. I think we're going to be in the 70s this week. Normally we have 2 seasons, just wet and dry.
Oh, nice.
It's a very gentle environment. Good for grapes.
Beautiful.
And tomatoes.
Perfect for grapes and tomatoes. Let's dive a little bit more into the culture. Tell me about the schools, the resorts that are surrounding the area that people that are moving there are going to be interested in.
So for the schools, what's kind of interesting is that populations in them had been decreasing over the last several years. I think basically because so many of the demographic that's moving here is older empty nester types. But what has been interesting since shelter in place happened and work from home, we've been getting a huge influx of young families, which is it's really nice to see because it's kind of rejuvenating the town. And as for resorts, I think, we're a town of about 11,000 people, and I think we have 1,400 hotel rooms so far. And right now, one of the big game changers is Montage has just opened a facility at the north end of town that's absolutely stunning. And they've done it so well because unless you know it's there, you'd never find it. So many of these hotels that come in, they're just kind of almost an eyesore. You have to wait for the landscaping to cover them up. But this was so well planned.
I know Healdsburg has a lot of architectural influences, different architectural influences. Could you please tell me about those?
Healdsburg, I think ever since its founding, has kind of been on the forefront of architectural innovation. So the city was founded shortly after the Civil War, the gold rush. A lot of the people who came here were disillusioned gold miners who discovered that, the real gold was in the local real estate. It took off pretty quickly. And when it reached a population of only about 1,000, they built this massive neo-Romanesque city hall. Unfortunately, it was torn down in the 60s. But for that enthusiasm for civic architecture, to me, I think is just incredibly impressive. When you get out in the vineyards, it's very common to see, beautiful Mediterranean-style homes. I mean, everybody went through the Tuscan phase across the country, but when it's really well done, it's stunning. Neoclassical and Victorian were all very cutting-edge styles at the end of the 19th century. We have just beautiful examples of both those types of styles in our downtown area. Now, there's a lot of the modern farmhouse look. Modern, just in and of itself, is very popular.
Bob, tell me, where are most of the buyers coming from? Where are you seeing them coming from today?
I'd say most of our buyers are coming from San Francisco, the Peninsula, the South Bay, some from the East Bay. We get quite a few from Los Angeles as well, and we have plenty of East Coast people who've moved here. But most of them is Bay Area.
How easy is it to get to and from Healdsburg from other areas of the country?
There's the Sonoma County Airport that is about 20 minutes away, and it has flights to Portland, Denver, LA, Seattle. So what a lot of people do is fly to one of those hubs if they're going across country or long haul flights. If they prefer San Francisco or Oakland, those are also possibilities. Those are about an hour and a half away. I just love the logo for this airport. It just says so much about the vibe in Sonoma County. It was named after Charles Schultz. And basically, we take life really seriously here because it's just so much fun.
I love it. Bob, what are the different price points in Healdsburg and the surrounding areas?
It depends on location, totally like everything else. When buyers first come here, after having spent time in one of the hotels, they either want bungalow downtown or a vineyard property out in the country. So downtown, the old historical district, you can get a fixer for between $700 and $800 a square foot. If you want turnkey, it can easily go up to $1,400 a square foot. There are some up-and-coming areas just outside of downtown, an area that was developed in the 50s and 60s that are just ripe for renovation or scraping. And some of those you could probably get for in the $600 a square foot range.
How is the appreciation values year after year in Healdsburg and the surrounding areas?
I'd say over the last 5 years, we've seen between 5 and 10% appreciation
pretty good.
per year.
What are the conditions that homes are being put on the market?
The conditions that properties come to market here is all over the map. What I've found, even when people, like prior to selling, they want to fix things up and make major improvements or whatever, I do what I can to discourage that, because even when someplace may seem turnkey to the seller, a buyer will come in and just gut the whole thing and do what he wants. So it's kind of interesting. Fixers seem to be really popular because they're lower priced and people can put their own stamp on them.
Bob, one of my favorite questions is, tell me about your favorite buyer story.
I had been working with some buyers. They had very specific requirements. We weren't finding anything, and I ran across a property. It had this beautiful Frank Lloyd Wright inspired home on it. They weren't interested just because the land was too small. And finally one day I said, come on, we're nearby, humor me. Let me show it to you. And they fell in love with it. So my buyers put in an offer, it was just slightly under asking, not terribly. And this never happened to me. The sellers came back with a counter offer that was $20,000 less than what we had offered.
Wow.
So everybody was happy, needless to say.
I'll bet you they were. Bob, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Alan.